Okay. So welcome to everybody to the call tonight. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate the fact that it is school holidays and people have made the effort to get on. I'm just going to mute everybody out so that we don't get interrupted by any background noise. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to post them in the little chat box that has come up on your screen, or if you have a burning question, please don't hesitate to unmute yourself and just interrupt where you're at. But certainly if you post to the chat, we'll answer it fairly much straight away. So tonight I really just wanted to talk about events. Often on our Starting Strong calls on a Monday night, we talk about the 5 principles to getting started in our business, and one of those is the importance of events. They really are the cornerstone of our business because we are a product-driven business and we have a business model that lends itself to presentation. Then events is really the way that you're going to be sharing either the product or the business with as many people as possible. What we have learned by observing success leaders in our company is that the success is directly proportional to your participation in events. And certainly what we've seen in members of our team, but also in members of other teams around Australia and even around the world, is that events is what drives the success of somebody's business. So I want to really talk about the importance of that, and I want to really get some key leaders in our business to pop on and tell their stories around how they are doing events, and I'll come to that a little bit later. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about the history behind all of this. So back in the day when Bronnie and I were first involved in the company, the way that the product and the business was moved was with large scale events. So we would go to, say, a big hotel in central Sydney, where Mark Dragon and Steve Coulter would be standing up on stage giving their star-studded performance for about half an hour each, half an hour each, so an hour of presenting. And what we would do is we would bring people to these big hotel events, and everyone would be looking flash in their suits and their stiletto high heels, and that was certainly how we started things off. And then as time progressed, we started to move into in-home events, and certainly with Celine Egan coming into our company, the one thing we learned about was Party Plan. And we learned about the value of doing in-home events and Party Plan events, doing that belly-to-belly, single person-to-person communication, the ability to touch and feel and smell and taste. That certainly is where we found value in doing our sort of Party Plan events. And certainly if you want to learn more about the Party Plan way of doing business with Juice Plus, you can find some great videos on your virtual office that Celine did probably about 6 or 7 years ago about Party Plan. But I think we've certainly progressed a lot since then, and we've learned a lot from our UK colleagues in how they are taking their events to fun locations. We've also learned a lot from our Generation Y and our millennials about how to do online events using both Zoom and also Facebook. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about there's several levels of events that you can have. So obviously I've alluded to the fact that there are different media that you can use. So you can use a FaceTime. You could do FaceTime event with a colleague and perhaps so an upline or a downline or a sideline support together with a prospect. You could do a Zoom event very similar to what we're doing here. You could have several prospects on and several franchisees on. You could use Facebook Live, so you could project straight into a Facebook event page, not too dissimilar to what we did with the Super Summit last week. And I certainly think that both Zoom and Facebook Live have their different merits. One thing we've always discussed with Zoom is that it's very real time, and you can sort of have an eyeball conversation with people. You can add things in the chat. You can come on live, unmute yourself and have a direct conversation. That's certainly the value of Zoom, which you probably don't get with Facebook Live. But the advantages to Facebook Live is that you are meeting people where they're at. People are on Facebook anyway. They know how to use that social media really easily. And it does lend itself to a little bit of anonymity. Some people like to just stay a little bit separate from the from the exposure of having themselves on here like we do with Zoom, and they like to be able to maintain that anonymity. So they're more likely then to hop on, say, a Facebook Live event. But you can certainly use that. And then the one thing that we find probably the best for conversion and the best for recruitment, and that is the belly-to-belly, one-to-one conversation, which you can do over the telephone, or you can do over a cup of coffee, or in your own home, or down at the cafe. So certainly there's lots of different media that you can use, and I would encourage all of you to try all of them. You know, perhaps set up a couple of events that you do either on Zoom, either on Facebook Live, and see what resonates most with you, what you feel comfortable using, and also what resonates with your prospective customer base. So that's just talking about what you can use. There are two main types of events, and I certainly know that our guests tonight are going to elaborate on the benefits of both of these. But the first one, obviously, is our product. So it kind of makes sense, doesn't it, that being a product-driven company, we are going to, I'm just going to pin myself so you guys can all see. Hang on a sec. Oh, technical difficulties here. Pin video. Sorry. So being that we're a product-driven company, that we are all about encouraging people to be products of the product, then one type of event that you could run is just a purely product event. And certainly half a dozen years ago, that was the way that we would go. We would be all about doing events around the product, around whole food nutrition, around teaching people about nutrition. And much of our community entered our community based on that, which really, I think, has laid the foundation to a really solid community with a very singular philosophy. Talking about what problems we have in our society as far as nutrition or lack thereof goes, as far as access to good quality fruits and vegetable whole food nutrition, and the fact that we have the solution and what our solution is, and just sort of describing the product. And, the big things we've found to be most valuable is that people can touch and feel and smell and taste. And it seems these days the popular types of product events are the smoothie events or the smoothie bowl events. Those certainly are coming out, but also our salad in a jar and sort of our food-based events as well. So that's one type of event that we've got. The other sort of event is your business and lifestyle opportunity, and that certainly has come to the front over the last couple of years, specifically based on what we've been seeing happening in the UK and even over on the East Coast, really projecting to people the opportunity to design your life, the opportunity to create a freedom lifestyle. And briefly discuss the product, obviously, but then introduce the concept loud and proud of network marketing, addressing some of the issues that people might have around entering a business like ours, such as not liking sales or not knowing enough people, and also showcasing to people how you would get started and what the potential opportunity is. But the biggest thing of both of those sorts of events, whether you choose product or whether you choose business, is that it's a story and testimonial based event. So we know that stories sell. We certainly know that facts tell, and we would certainly never discourage you from moving that far away from what the basics of our product is. But we also know and have learned, and this is something that I've really had to learn, because I've always been about the product and I've always been about the science, but sometimes science isn't that sexy. And what I have learned, even, transferring this across into medicine, is that people like to hear stories. They like to hear stories of success. And so it's really important that whether you're doing a product presentation or whether you're doing a business opportunity presentation, that you always invite the stories to be told and the testimonials in whatever way that you can. So there are several levels, I guess, of presentations and events that you could have. Obviously, I touched briefly on the personal kind of events. So they might be where you invite one or two of your friends down to a cafe to talk to them about the product. You might put your product out there, order a cup of coffee, talk through the product and so on. You might decide to have a three-way conversation. So that's where your mobile phone comes in really handy, where you can actually have a three-way merged conversation with you and one other person. So having that having that opportunity to have personal interaction is really valuable. And I think certainly when it comes to conversion, you want to eventually, whatever way you're contacting people, whether that be on Facebook, whether that be after a Facebook Zoom, you want to bring it somehow to some belly-to-belly conversation. So personal events are really important. The next level that I like to term launch events or in-home events is where you might decide you want to launch your business. So you might decide you want to invite your friends and family around to talk either product or business, or a combination of both, a hybrid of both. The value of something like that is twofold. Number one, it enables you to really link arms with your sponsor or your upline. And it invites duplication and invites the opportunity for you to learn. Because remember, when you first started in this business, you're not expected to know anything. Just like when I started in medicine, I had to go and do a university degree. The same thing goes here. You have to learn how to do the business first and foremost. So you've got to watch people first. And I certainly love the watch one, do one, teach one. And that's why I always encourage people when they're first joining the business to aim for 3 launch parties or 3 in-home parties to enable them to learn the lingo off me or their success team. Sorry, their sponsorship team. So that's the first benefit to an in-home. The second is validation. There's nothing more powerful than someone else validating the things that you have said. Someone who's been on the product longer, someone who's been in the business longer, someone who's had greater success in the business, to validate what you have been telling your friends or family or colleagues or your contacts. That person is going to give you validation by doing the event and sharing their story. And it also helps to create vision and that sense of community. And more often than not, if you're prepared to open up your events to others sideline who might want to bring 1 or even 2 people along, again, you start to really get that sense of community. And I think that's one thing over here our Perth team has done exceptionally well, is really helped people to understand that value of community. Then we've got your local events. So they might be, for example, anything that is done. So our Design Your Life events that we do online, or the ones on a Thursday night at my place or a Tuesday night at Nat's house. They're kind of your local events where multiple teams might be able to tap in. And, you know, once again, even more, that really sets that vision, that sets that community. And it gives you an opportunity to learn in a very comfortable environment without you feeling pressured like you've got to host the event and look after everybody and so on. So bringing people along to those local events, you know, you really shouldn't be missing any of them. You really should be making every possible attempt. I remember hearing Christine Drummond's story. Christine is now a 100 Club NMD, and the one thing she said is no matter what, she attended every one of Linda's events. She hung around Linda like a bad smell for months on end to learn everything she could about doing the events, and she never ever found that she went to one and didn't learn something. So they're your local events. Then you've got your regional events. They would be your big community things, like when we have Steve Coulter come over here and do a big event. When Nat holds her whole food nutrition events. It might be like our health summit last week and our business summit, you know, big regional events that you want to be tapping yourself into and your prospects into as well. Then you've got your national events. So that would be our conference, which, you know, anyone on here, anyone who owns a franchise with the Juice Plus company, I expect you to do everything you can to get to those national conferences. Because they are where you're going to do your biggest learning. They are where you're going to really connect with the bigger picture and mission of what is happening in Australia. And that is where you have the opportunity to tap into the leadership who are doing amazing things who aren't in your backyard. So you want to be making sure that if you haven't booked your ticket for conference, you need to book it now. And then we'll find out the way of getting you there and getting you accommodation, because we can definitely make that happen. Just making the commitment to getting to conference in June is absolutely key. And then the final thing is international conferences. We know there are obviously the 2 American ones. There's one that is next week in Anaheim, and also the one at the end of the year, which is their autumn conference. or fall conference. And then we're increasingly seeing many of our franchisees going across to some of the UK conferences and tapping into what the UK are doing. And also there's other franchisees who attend some of the other European conferences as well. So there's multiple levels of event, and what you need to do is start to build your business and build your plan for your future with the company around these sorts of events. So I think I've spent enough time talking. I really want to open it up to a couple of guests who I've asked to share their stories around, how they got started with events in our company, what worked with those events, whether they be product and or business, what they've learned they could improve upon, and what their recommendations for someone starting out in our business are all about. So Nat, I might just open it to you first, my friend. Because Nat really has had an amazing rise to the top in our business, but particularly around doing events. And really, she led the way, I feel, in our Hunters and Gatherers community, really, stamping the way forward with getting events back on the map. So I'll pass you over, Natty.
Yeah. Look, we've just been through this whole conversation with some of our incredible new team of late. And what do they really need? And we keep forgetting, because Bronwyn's been in the business for, 18, I don't know. You guys have both been in it for 18 years. So I've only been in it for 8 years. And what we did 8 years ago was do event after event after event after event after event. But guess what we did? We did the same event every single week, 3 to 5 times a week. So I just kept doing the same event. I didn't go, oh, maybe I'll try a smoothie event, or maybe I'll try a food facial event. I didn't make it difficult. All we did was really go into people's homes and do the same event over and over and over again. And what happened is, with that rhythm that we had doing that same event, we got so good at what didn't work and what did work that we just kept going. And after 18 months of doing these events, we went from 3 to 5 people in our home to 50 to 75 in the back garden, to 175 in the back garden, to then having to hire halls to have up to 300 people. And it was the same event every single time. So we do a big event for the whole community once a month, but then we continued with this same event in our frontlines homes and our frontlines homes. So we were teaching as a threesome, always teaching as a threesome. And Tracy and I had this incredible rhythm where she was really the social butterfly, and she allowed me to step back and just go in and speak. And then at the end, I would say to her, okay, well, I'm looking at the audience and I saw this person shift and I saw that person shift. Because when you stand at the front of the room, so often what happens is you see patterns and rhythms in people, and you know when somebody is like, this information's amazing. So it's just about being rhythmic. Sorry, 1 second, Taj, I'm busy. You want to go to bedtime? Okay, you go to bed. Go brush your teeth and jump into bed. I'm on the phone, babe. Go on, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Sorry, everyone. That's what I love about our business. Like, you should just get these family interruptions, but it's all good. So I just think that what we really sat down a couple of weeks ago and we looked at what's working. Now, I don't know if anyone knows Katie Tamaccio, but she's been in the business 8 months. She's an SSC. She's got a huge amount of volume coming through her business, a very fast-growing team. She was a bit wobbly for a couple of months there, trying to find her feet. But she just went, what do we need to do? And I said, we need to do events. And the same event every time, and not change the rhythm, because they need to listen so they can duplicate the same event. And it needs to be the same every time. But the way that it's different every time is that maybe we bring a different type of food, or maybe we bring a different type of wine, or maybe we just have something fun and do it with hats. It doesn't matter, but it's the same information over and over again. And that might sound boring to you guys, but I didn't find it boring. I found it so exciting because the results from every group was different. Sometimes we'd have 20 blank faces looking at us like, what just happened? And then I'd have the next week, I would have 20 faces looking at me going, I want to order 20 orders. Sometimes it's got nothing to do with the way we present. It's the type of audience we're presenting to. But what we do is when we saw the differences in events, we go, why didn't that work that night? And Tracy would always give me feedback. She'd say, well, this was awesome, and this was awesome, but that was embarrassing. Well, you shouldn't have said that. Well, why did you say that? Oh, my God, that's not how it's said. It's said like this. And I'd be like, oh, my God, I don't know. Just like I'm so excited when I get up there. So I just learnt by making a shitload of mistakes. And I don't know why we went off track and started to think that in our business we need to try new things every 2 or 3 weeks. You know, every business that makes money, do you want fries with that? 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 It is the same thing over and over again. The only thing that makes it more exciting is the customers that come into play, the types of people that you reach out to. You know, if you're pitching to mamas all the time, but you're not a mama and you don't like that environment because you don't understand it and you don't connect to it, stop pitching at mamas. You know, pitch at Gen Y or pitch at corporates, wherever you feel that lights you up, go and find those people, find your tribe and then sign them up and then do events for them. I'm doing so many corporate events now, lots of little events in people's workplaces, and we're calling them lunch and learns. It's the same event, we're just calling it lunch and learn, and we're going into people's offices doing quick power 45-minute in and out. And, you know, I love that because I get to speak to people that are full-time in the corporate world and I want to get them out. But also, too, I like the language because they are me. And that's where I used to be, and I used to love that. So, I don't know, guys. I think events are where it's at, and I think this is all we need to do. Instead of sitting there waiting for someone to put an event on for you and building into that, why not create an event for your team and do that rhythmically every single week, 3 times a week? You know, when people say to me, how come my business isn't growing? I say, because you're waiting. You're waiting. Don't wait. Go do. You know, John Holowati said to me the other day, because I said, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on and blah, blah, blah. And I had my little minor meltdown. And he said, are you your best distributor? I said, oh, okay, I am, but I'm not always. He goes, consistently be your best distributor. Are you putting on events? Are you going out there and putting on events for yourself? Are you signing up 5 to 10 customers a month? Are you signing up 1 to 3 franchisees a month? And I'm like, inconsistently and consistently, sometimes not, maybe, yes, no. And he just went, you're not. So I've gone back to like, right, I've got to go out and get my 5 to 10 customers, my 1 to 3 franchisees every month, because that's how I'm going to build my business. And I have to do that through events because that's what I like to do. So I hope that makes sense to everybody.
Yeah, that's
real.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Nat. Can you tell me when you do events, because I'm sure everyone wants to hear this, do you decide, right, you know, this group of, here's your brand new franchisee, they want to attract this kind of people. Do you decide, right, I'm going to do predominantly a product or predominantly a business, or do you always do a hybrid of both? How do you do it now?
Always do a hybrid of both, but I am more gentle with nervous franchisees on the business side. So I'll have a franchisee going, don't share the business. And I go, okay. But then I just go and do it anyway because I know how I can do it gently and it doesn't make anyone feel uncomfortable. And then I show them how I haven't offended anybody. And I do it by this. I say, you know, so you've heard about this amazing product and you've heard about nutrition and we've had some fun today. I said, but I would be terrible if I didn't share with you the best thing about what I get to do every day. You know, there was a beautiful woman that introduced me to this product and then she invited me into the business because I couldn't help sharing it with people. It's just infectious. And, you know, I would be terrible if I didn't tell you there is a business attached to this. So if you're listening today and you love the product and you want to jump on board with that, but you're thinking about potentially wanting to have your own little business at home, I would love to talk to you. And that's all I say. Very gently. Very, very gently, right? And then it's not offensive. But if it is someone who's like, yeah, I want to sign up tons of franchisees, I will do 20 minutes on nutrition, 20 minutes on the product, and 20 minutes on the business. But I'll make sure that we split it into sections so we're always doing it as a team. I don't do it all anymore. Katie Tamaccio, Sam Reed, they always speak. They fight me to speak. So that's good, you know? So I want them to be so hungry that they want to boot me out of the system. You know, that's what I want. I want them to be better than me. And I just, honestly, you just want everyone to be better than you. That's what you want.
Yeah, I love that. Duplication is definitely the key. That's exactly what you want to create. Nat, thanks so much for sharing some valuable pearls there. Jess Phillips, I'm just going to invite you on now, my love, if you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself. So Jess is relatively new in our business. She's also a mum of a lovely set of 1-year-old twins. I barely cope with 2 older children, so I don't know how you do it, but you're amazing. Jess, tell me, obviously being relatively new, you've gone through the whole launch process really recently, and you've brought some team members in who you are now duplicating and launching as well. So can you please share just a little bit about, you know, how you did it yourself, what worked, what didn't, and what you're now doing with your franchisees to try and get them to stand on their own 2 feet too?
Sure. Okay, so for myself, I did 2 launch parties. I did one midweek and one on the weekend. So one midweek for those, you know, mums that are staying at home, and then a weekend one for the people that work 9 to 5. I found personally that the weekend one was much better. I had a lot more people show up, whether it was just the type of person that came, I don't know, but I got quite a few orders out of that, which was great. So I was told by my leaders to make sure you always do a launch party, because you're starting a business. So how else are you going to get out there? And it just gave me confidence as well. It gave me a lot more confidence in the product, because I started the product and the business at the same time. I didn't want to wait, so I was just like, I'm doing it. It gave me a lot more confidence in the product to hear those other stories come out. And I had some other girls that came to my launch party and shared their story as well. So we had a few from the team that came, which was great. For my team members that I've had come on, we've done launch parties for them as well. And it was the same thing. I said to them, we need to do your launch party. We need to get, you know, just invite as many people as you can, friends, family. It doesn't matter how many you invite, because you're only going to get like a handful usually. And it just gives us a chance to, you know, it's all well and good talking to someone over the phone or messaging them on Facebook or something, but it doesn't give the same effect unless you're face to face, I have found, and they can taste the product and they can see it and they can see the passion in you when you're speaking about it, and if you've got someone else there to share their story at the same time. So it's huge. And we've been doing a couple other events, not so much a launch party, but just more events we're trying to do. We're doing acai bowl event, so they're very in at the moment. It's like the smoothie bowl, but with the acai powder in it, so it's a bit of an extra boost. And like I sort of just say that, you know, it's not all about Juice Plus, it's not all about the product. We also like to show other ways of eating healthy and making yummy meals that are great for the family and for your kids, and something that kids will love as well. So we want to give them information on how to make, you know, this extra yummy food. And then we always go into the product and why we do it and why we love it, and talk about the product as well, because let's be honest, we do events to get customers, right? We don't want to skip over the product. So they've been a really great hit, I found. So the smoothie ones and the acai bowl events. So I think we're just going to keep replicating that, because everyone loves to eat as well when you're there and you're eating and you're having conversation. And what I've found lately is showing one of the videos as well. So the Dr. Jan Roberto video that she talks about the complete powder is a great one. Like everyone gets captured on it and listens to it, and then they just think, wow, this is great. So the last event we had, my team member Julia had 2 orders come out of that, and I'm pretty sure it was both the complete and the premium. So yeah, I think that's been working pretty well for us. So we're just going to keep duplicating that.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. Just someone asked, Miranda. Thanks, Natty. Thanks so much for joining us. Miranda, you asked which video is that? So if you go on to experiencejp.com, you'll find a whole bunch of videos, and in there's a video on the product by Dr. Jan Roberto, Roberto, and she does a really nice, I think it's about 20 minutes, isn't it, Jess, video on describing complete what's in it. And
No, it's only like 6 or 7 minutes.
okay, all right. So it's
Yeah.
yeah. But you can search for any of these videos on YouTube, and there's any of the product videos. You can use the next best thing. You can use Farm Fresh Nutrition. You can use the product video with John Blair, how the product is made. So there's a whole bunch of really short, between 5 and 10 minute videos that you can show. Jess, that just brings up a really good point, and that is using the resources that are there. You don't have to know everything. Ideally, you would love to have your sponsor there. And Jess, you had Sarah there for the first few parties that you did. Obviously, she eased you into it. She didn't say, there you go, off you go. But
one party I was holding, she messaged me the day or the night. No, it was the day, saying that she wasn't feeling that great and isn't going to be able to come. So literally threw me into it, and I had to stand on my own 2 feet and do it myself, which was a blessing in disguise, really, because
maybe she meant to do that.
I know, I reckon.
But certainly using the resources that are available to you. The other idea, Jess, thanks so much for sharing. That's fantastic. Can I just ask quickly, do you share, obviously you predominantly lead with the product, but do you share the business at all in these parties?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't, but that's something that I definitely will work up to doing for sure.
And have you found, given that you've recruited teammates, have you found that that's come out of the people that have been coming along to the product events?
Yeah, both my teammates came from the product event that I took them to at your house.
There you go. So there's value. There's definitely value in having.
I'll just say to everyone, any potential teammate I've got, like wanting to come on or not too sure, I'm always hoping to bring them to Tomorrow's House Design Your Life, because as soon as they walk in, they're going, oh, I'm not sure, no, I don't know, and they'll walk out of there going, yep, I want to sign, where do I sign up? It's brilliant.
Yeah, they're good. The Design Your Life events are good, and they're all around town. There's obviously my event on a Thursday. Nat has one at her place at the Fishbowl on a Tuesday night. We know that Val and Sunny have events as well. So, it's just a matter of reaching out to others. So Jess, I'll thank you so much for sharing. So I'm just going to wrap it up, because we know we've got Team Angels moving to their call, but I just want to do a really quick recap. Nat talked about having the same event over and over, and by doing that you figure out what works and what doesn't. Both the girls have talked about the value of duplication. So doing a simple, easy event that your team members watch you do and know that they can do again, and it's easy for you to teach them. Jess made the point, invite the many. You will need to invite 20, 30 people to get 10 there, even 5 there. So it's important to invite lots of people, knowing that you'll get proportionately smaller amounts actually showing up, and using the resources available to you. And there were some great ideas shared about product parties, making the product obviously front and center, but building whole wellness and food movement around that. So the acai bowls, we know we've done healthy lunchbox events in the past, smoothie bowls, salad in a jar events, food facials, wine and wellness, whatever limits is your imagination. And just remember that your success will be directly proportional to the amount of events that you're either holding or you're actually attending. And, I really want everybody, all 22 of you on here, I want to encourage all of you to put the June conference in your diary. Make that commitment to go now. Spend the money on the ticket out of your Juice Plus income. And, if you're struggling to think, well, how am I going to pay for my accommodation? How am I going to pay for my airfares? Don't worry about that, because the answers and solutions will come to you. We've always managed to get everybody there to conference, and it will give your business the most incredible accelerated boost forward like you can't ever imagine. I can't even begin to explain it. And I'm so jealous of Bronnie and Carla and all the girls, Sarah, heading over to Anaheim this year. It's going to be incredible. Can't wait for you to be sharing it on a conference call when you arrive. So we're going to wrap it up.